Hey y'all, this is Ryan. So I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I kind of already tried to put behind me and everything, I guess. Something happened to me about, I don't know, month and a half ago or something like that. And I, looking back on it, it was definitely an experience that I'm kind of glad it happened. I was scared at the moment. I didn't know what was going on, but yeah, I didn't tell that many people about it because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But the people I did tell, they know about my YouTube channel and my other social networks, and they were like, "You need to put this on the internet because there are other people like you that have experienced the same thing, and maybe they're not having as good a time with it as you are, or maybe their experience was a lot worse than yours, and maybe some people want to hear your story." So something happened to me about a month ago that I did not see coming. It happened in the most unlikely places, but yeah. I live in Arlington, and I was coming home from work one night, and I stopped to get some gas. And at this gas station, I was harassed and verbally abused by a group of people that were out supporting their church. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. So what they were doing was there's a street in the middle, and they would stand there, and there's gas stations on either side, and there was a Shell and a Texaco, and I went to the Texaco, and every time they would see someone go to either gas station, they would branch off from the street and go give them flyers and talk about their church and stuff. And when they saw me go into the Texaco to fill up, they branched off and came up. Well, it was one guy, the one guy at first. He came up to my window because I was answering text messages before I got out of the car, and he knocked on my window, and I rolled down a little bit, and he slipped the flyer through, and I picked it up, and I saw it was for a church, and I'm a Christian, I'm a practicing Christian, so I love to hear about other people's churches, and I like to visit churches also. So I was like, oh, okay, he's just trying to, talk to me about his church. So I rolled my window down the rest of the way, and he kind of leaned forward a little bit and started asking me questions like if I was a Christian and if I'd been saved. And I was like, yeah, I got saved on April 15th, 2 years ago. And he was like, oh, that's cool, What Jesus save you from? And I was like, well, he didn't really save me from one specific, thing or a couple specific things. I just, I hadn't been living my life filled up in his spirit, and I, walk day to day with him by my side now, and, I confessed him as my Lord and Savior, and, I live every day with him in my heart. And he was like, man, that's really cool, yeah, I was recently just saved, and I was living a pretty, awful life. I was drinking my hopes and dreams away, and I was having sex outside marriage, and I was just like, I figured, this pastor at this church of mine, made me realize that my way of thinking was totally backwards, and he's a really great guy. And then he proceeded to talk about his pastor. And I was like, okay, cool, and I was just listening and kind of, just looking at him, and then he was saying all this stuff about the pastor, about what a great guy he was, how he's, speaks a clear message, and, he gets energized and ready to praise and all that. And then he was like, he just kind of nonchalantly slipped into saying, yeah, man, and he doesn't fall into that media way of thinking that it's okay to be gay, and that gays are born gay, and that he doesn't think that it's okay for them to get married. And I was just like, whoa, hold on one second. And I was like, I think I'm going to have to give this back to you, sir. And I handed him his flyer back, and he was like, well, why? And I was like, well, I just don't think your church is for me. And he was like, well, I don't understand why. And then I was like, well, actually, sir, I'm gay, and I disagree with some of the things that you just said. And he was like, oh, okay. I kind of had a feeling about you. I just, wasn't quite sure. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, sir. I mean, I don't think your church is for me. And he just kind of took the flyer and put it back in his little stack, and he was like, okay, sir, do you realize what you're doing is wrong? And I was like, what? And he was like, do you know that the way you're living your life right now is making God very angry and upset with you? He did not intend for that to happen, and your God is upset with you. He is sad and angry, and he does not like the way you're living your life. And I was like, okay, I disagree. I don't think God feels that way about any gay person. But thank you for your opinion. And I was like, I just disagree. And he was like, no, I don't see why you're laughing, sir. It's a serious matter. And I was like, okay. And he was like, do you want to go to hell, sir? And I was like, what? And he was like, he literally said, do you want to burn in hell? Because that's what's going to happen if you continue to live the life that you live. And I was like, I'm not going to hell, sir. I disagree. And he was like, no, you're going to hell. And he kept saying that over and over, and he kept raising his voice, and he, just getting physically angry because I would not agree with him. I would not admit that I thought I was going to hell because I am gay. And I just kept saying, I disagree, I'm sorry. And then there was a group of people out of his group of church people, and they heard him, and they started to kind of walk towards my car. I'm still sitting in my car at this point because he's by my door and I can't open my door. And so they hear him raising his voice and starting to get louder. And then like 3 or 4 people walk over and just kind of get closer. And the next thing I know, people are surrounding my car. And I'm starting to get nervous because I've never been in a situation like this. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know what to say. The only thing that was running through my mind was I need to be careful. I need to be careful what I say. I need to be careful what I do. I just need to be careful. And I know it's a church group, but that doesn't mean that they're not capable of some stuff. I mean, churches have done a lot worse to people in the past. So I didn't rule anything out. So I started getting physically scared. I started to shake, and I was getting very, very worried because this man was physically upset. He was yelling at me, shouting at me that I was going to hell and that I needed to change my ways or I was going to burn for all eternity. And more people, like 2 people at a time, kept walking over because they kept hearing this man, and they were just crowding around my car, and I was starting to shake, and I was getting really, really scared, and I didn't know what to do. And I just said, please just go away and let me pump my gas. Please just leave me alone. And he was like, no, I'm an American. I can stand wherever the hell I want to, and if I want to stand right here, I'm going to stand right here and tell you what you're doing is wrong. And I just kept repeating that over and over. I was like, please, sir, please, I'm not doing anything. Let's just, go our separate ways and let me pump my gas. Just please leave me alone. He wouldn't. He kept yelling at me. He kept telling me I'm, evil. I'm gonna die and go to hell. And I was getting scared. I was getting very scared, and didn't know what to do. Well, during the time he was shouting at me, on the other side of the gas pump, another car pulls up, and this girl steps out, and she kind of like looks at what's going on, and she continues to like put her money in to pay for her gas. And the guy he sees her, and he kind of backs away to hand her a flyer. And when he backs away, I take this chance and I step out of my car. And he hands her a flyer, or he starts to. He's like, here you go. And she goes, I don't want one. Don't hand me one of those. And he was like, why? I was just, I haven't even said anything yet. And she was like, no, I see what you're doing right now, and I'm offended, not only as a Christian, but as a person. What you're doing to that man is wrong. And he just kind of like, he was taken aback. He was just like, oh, what? And he was like, I disagree, ma'am. I'm just telling this guy over here that what he's doing is wrong and that it's not okay to be gay. And I was just trying to help him. And she was like, you call that help? That is not helping. Shoving your beliefs down someone's throat and shouting at them, telling them they're going to burn in hell, that is not helping someone. That is condemning someone. And last time I checked, Christians don't do that. That's not a Christ-like, behavior. And she was like, she kept saying she was offended. She was like, no, I don't want any of your flyers. And he stepped back, and then he was like, do you know what you look like right now, ma'am? And she was like, excuse me? And he was like, do you know how you're dressed right now? And she kind of stepped forward, and she was like, excuse me? And he was like, and this is exactly what he said. He was like, it's called modesty. Perhaps you should learn it. And she was like, excuse me? And she put her money down, she put her keys down on top of her car, and she walked up to the guy and she shoved her finger in his face, and she was like, listen here, this is unacceptable. You do not go around condemning people and telling people that they're going to hell for certain things that they're not going to hell for. And who are you to say how things work? And she was like, no, this is unchristlike, this is offensive, and it's wrong. You do not go around telling people that they're going to hell. And she was getting all in his face, and then I stepped in when I could. I still was in shock of the situation. I just kept saying, sir, please leave us alone, let us pump our gas, please just go back to your group, go over to the Shell right next door, there's people pulling up getting gas, go preach to them, go tell them that they're going to hell, like, just leave us alone, just go away. And he was like, no, I'm an American, I can do what I want, I'm gonna stand here and tell y'all that what y'all are doing is wrong. She's dressed inappropriately and you're gay, both are wrong. And he turned to her and he was like, I'm a father of 3 daughters, and if any of them walked out of the house dressed like that, and he like gestured to all of her, he was like, I would be appalled. And she was like, I've had enough, this is ridiculous. And she pulled out her phone and she like started typing away, and then he backed off, and then he went to other cars that were pulling up, and then she pumped her gas real quick and walked around to her car, and I was just like, I had a little mini panic attack. I walked up to her and I was like, thank you so much for being here. You showed up at the perfect time. I was so scared. Just thank you so much. And she walked up to me and she grabbed my hand and she was like, honey, I'm glad I was here too. Do not listen to that man. He is completely disillusioned. He is crazy. Do not listen to him. You are beautiful and God loves you just the way you are. So please don't let people like him get you down. He is completely lost in his way of thinking. And I'm glad I was here to help you out. And I kept saying thank you so much. I was just like, thank you. And I kicked myself today because I didn't get her name. And I'm so glad she was there. And then later on, telling people this story, they were like, if that wasn't God sending you an angel to help you out in that moment, I don't know what else is. If that's not God helping you out right there, I don't know what else is. And I thought about it, thinking back, and my friends are absolutely right. God sent her to me to help me out. That's what I believe. I believe God sent that woman to me to help me because she was obviously more confident, more aggressive than I was. I was shell-shocked. I withdrew into my, little turtle shell. I didn't know what was going on. And she came along, helped me out, put that man in his place as best she could, and God sent me an angel. That's how I choose to look at it. And when I realized this, I sat down and I prayed. I prayed to God. I just said, thank you, Father God, for sending that angel to me to help me out. I know in my heart of hearts that you love me, and I will see you one day when I walk into your kingdom because I live my life for you. I love you so very much. Thank you for sending that angel to me. She is a blessing, and that was just an amazing sign, an amazing thing that you did for me. Thank you so much for helping me in that moment. And I also thought back and I was like, I can't believe that happened. I was, angry that it happened, but then I got to thinking, I was like, my camera's getting blurry. There it goes. I was just thinking, I'm glad it happened the way it did. You know, it kind of got my feet wet, because living the lifestyle that I do, it would be ignorant to say that something like that would never happen. I'm not stupid. I know that stuff like that is bound to happen for people who live the lifestyle that I choose to live. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, that's I said that wrong. It's not a choice. I don't believe being gay is a choice. I believe, you know, you're born this way. It's just how you are, you know. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, it's something you're born with, and it's a lifestyle that you're born into. Excuse me for those words. I said that wrong. That's not what I believe. I believe people are born gay. It's not a choice, because who would choose that lifestyle over a completely normal one that's accepted, you know? But that's a completely different topic, and I'll be glad to rant about that later. I mean, I don't know, but anyway, I was happy that it happened the way that it did, instead of me maybe like walking down the street hand in hand with my husband, you know, and with our child, you know, people spitting at us or throwing rocks at us or something like that, you know. I'm glad it happened the way it did, so that I can get my feet wet to the situation and kind of know how to react next time. But yeah, that was definitely one for the memory books. I'm still surprised it happened in Arlington, of all places. Arlington's pretty gay. I mean, it's not Dallas gay, but there's a lot of gays in Arlington. There really is. I expected this to happen back in my hometown, Granbury, before anything else. But imagine my surprise. But yeah, so that's my little story. If y'all have any questions or anything, concerns, or if you want to talk, just let me know. You know, you can leave a comment, or follow my Twitter, Facebook, or blog, or I've got Skype. I'd be more than happy to talk to y'all on Skype about anything. So this is more of a serious video from me, but I agree with my friends. It's something that, you know, should have been said, to open up that line of communication, I guess, for that topic. So yeah, thank you all for watching this extremely drawn out video and listening to this very frazzled story. But yeah, so I guess I will talk to y'all later. God bless. I love y'all. All right, bye.